Again, I want to thank Michael Riggs for providing us with piano playing during our meal. And yeah. And I know he stepped out of the room, but how about that meal? Was that not great? Yeah. Come on. Thank Chef Corey and the culinary students here. Great job. First, I also wanted to thank, as you see in the programs, something like this, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but we'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of our sponsors that's in the program, but especially our corporate sponsors. Our main corporate sponsor being Blue Ridge Energy, who's been a corporate sponsor for many, many years. And this year, our other main sponsors were McQuarrie Modern, Cages Mountain Discount Drug, Wilcox Marketing, B&L Telephone, Jeff and Rita Johns, and the Friends of the High Brighton High School 2005 men's soccer team. So thank you to the sponsors. And I know everyone's excited about the drawing and the law firm or the accounting firm of Peer and Spears. Okay. So, and as Charles had mentioned earlier, this actually goes to our Polio Plus campaign. So that might be a record in several years. That's pretty good. So the half that someone's walking out here tonight is $263. So cash money. We mixed it up pretty good, but let me have somebody draw. I'm gonna get this young man right here to draw. It's not leaving his day when he was younger. All right. First of all, you gotta have a red ticket. Okay? I'll start. Everybody should have 284. Is everybody still in it? First three numbers? All right. Going from the fourth number down. 8. How many still in it? All right, narrow it down. 0. 1. Do we have a winner? All right. Come to the front to claim your prize. You have to have the ticket for proof. That was the winning ticket, so better luck next year. Yeah. Thank you. And I know it's getting late, we'll get started, and I looked at the sports schedule tonight, and it's the Steelers and the Giants playing football. I don't know any Giants fans. I know a lot of Pittsburgh fans, but no Giants fans. And I know the Dodgers and Yankees are playing. I know that I'm a Braves fan. I'm still trying to figure out how pull both teams to lose. So anyway, yeah. So there's still little ways. Don't get something to the later innings anyway. But first, we always like to recognize our previous inductees, both the individuals and the teams that we've honored in the past. And just to recognize those, I'm asking Joe Gibbons to come forward.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, sir. And again, good evening. Welcome to this banquet tonight. It's an honor to be here. The Caldwell Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks to the Caldwell County Rotary Club for starting this some 35 years ago. Tonight is the 35th class of inductees. It now brings the total to 142 that are now will be inducted into the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame, and 10 honored teams will also be a part. I'm going to start with the years. We'll go down rather quickly, so if you are here and with us, please stand so that we can recognize you, and we will just keep going down in the years. All right, the first year was 1989. Dr. William N. Corbening, Coach Bill Cross, James H. Jones, Albert Rube Walker, Henry Bulldog Patterson, George F. Cap Weesey. 1990, Jennifer Elaine Alley, Donald Lee Kirkpatrick, Larry Grayson Smith, and William B. Stronach Jr. 1991, M.S. Deal, Dwight Perkins, Lindsay Deal, and Big Bob McCreary. 1992, Clayton Speck Everhart, Walter W. Rabb, Jack Clark, John Thomas Johnny Allen. 1993, Gil Beck, Dreama Sue Greer, Jack Curtis, and Don Carlton. 1994, Fred Lanford, Coach Lanford, Joe R. Cook, Maxie Williams, Charlie Sullivan. 1995, as we honor tonight, the late Ron Ving, Charles R. Cazort, Bill Link, and Verlin Lee Walker. 1996, Robert A. Gibbons Jr., William U.D. Pitts, James Reed, and Andrew Fry Torrance III. Andy. 1997, Richard C. Dickey Foster, George Murphy, Ned H. Pennell, Spencer Gerald Red Robbins Sr. 1998, Gary Henson, Jeffrey B. Jeff Joyens, there's Jeff back in the back, Robert Lewis Rob Moore, and Tommy Simmons. 1999, Mike Biggerstaff, Tommy Dunn, Tommy's with us back here, William F. Willie Lefevre, and C.W. Suit Porter. 2000, Charles B. Skip Downs, Charles Hope, Naomi Swift, and Ted Watson. 2001, Reed Aldridge Jr., Carl Odell Jenkins, Judge Vernon Mills, we called him JB, James B. Peanut Wilcox. I know Peanut's with us. 2002, Bob Clark, Verner T. Phillips, Tommy Simmons, and Boyd E. Bobo Wilson. 2003, Reese Corpening, J.C. Mundy, Willis Hap Setzer, and Ed Rip Tudor. 2004, Louis Bub Bernhardt, Wayne Kirby, Darrell Whitford, and Janet Mason. 2005, John Gerald Childers Sr., Joe Hightower, Philip Horton, and Karen Spencer Tribute. And Karen is here. 2006, Coach Steve Crisp, here. Johnny McCray, Mac Robbins, Joseph Franklin Spencer, and Jim Watson. 2007, Barry Benfield, Walter Goins, Peggy Ward, and Glenwood Wilson. 2008, Harold Beach, Jerry Bean, Derek S. Donald, and Max Presswood. 2009, Wilford Bean, Wilford is here, Ted C. Crow, Jay Knight, and Gary Eugene Walls, and Gary is here. 2010, Bill Frazier, Joe Gibbons, Kenneth Sipes, and Walter Lentz. 2011, Danny Anderson, Jim Benfield, Nancy W. Dua, and N.A. Red Greer. 2012, Dr. Mark Porch, Jeanette Turner, Magruder Tuttle, and Jack Pennell. 2013, Paul Beck, G.C. Trivett, John Howard, and Kevin Simmons. 2014, Donald Kirkpatrick Jr., Dirk Moss, Jill Sudrick, and Wade T. 2015, Holly Andrews, Garland Bill Crump, Bill Slayton, and Joe Walker. 2016, Marty Curtis, Darrell Jones, W.D. Dave King, and Frank Butch Smith III. 2017, Andy Anderson, Wesley Van Griffith, William C. Bill Isaacs, and Jarvis B. Sudworth III. 2018, J.B. Myers, Mary Doug McGee Murdoch, Larry W. Taylor, Derek Jerome Witherspoon. 2019, Johnny Hatton, Gary Phillips Jr., Bruce Sudworth, and Ray Sudworth. Ray is here. 2021, we missed 20 with COVID. Alan C. Beck, Lee Anthony Glass, J. Tony Hilton, and A.G. Jonas Jr. 2022, Coach Gary Hamby, Charles Alvin Rudisell, Charlie Lee Weathers, Robert S. Rob Winkler. 2023, Shona Banner, Sean Denny, Mary Sue Link, and Monty Seymour. And our honored teams for those years: 1958 Gamble High School football team, the 1956 Granite Falls High School football team, 1958 Lenore Teener League All-Star baseball team, the 1969 Lenore High School football team, the 1982 South Caldwell High School baseball champions, 1985 West Caldwell ladies basketball champions, 1986 West Caldwell ladies basketball team champions, 1990 American Legion Post 29 team, and 1991 American Legion Post 29 team. Those are our inductees up through the year 2023. Tonight we will meet 4 more and a new team. Congratulations to everyone.
Yeah, we had several years ago, we started the conversation at the committee to stop, because the Hall of Fame is an individual honor, but then a lot of times we do have many teams in our community that's teams of excellence, distinction, that's won state championship, had undefeated seasons and that like. So we started each year trying to at least honor one team. So I think it's been a great addition to the Hall of Fame. So this year, we're going to recognize the 1981 Caldwell County Junior League All-Star Team, and if I could ask Van Griffith to come forth to introduce them.
If you look on page 11 in your handbook, you can tell you more than I need to. So we got one for Rick Free with another home run. Now, it is my honor to get to do this, because actually I was involved as part of as a member of the Gamble Ruatan Club that helped sponsor one of these teams, and we helped around the concession stand out there at Gamble Field where they play. And as you know, Little League teams are assigned for the regular season, and then they pick all-stars to play in the all-star competition. Not like these travel ball crap that they have nowadays, which is a ruin to baseball in Caldwell County. Now, anyway, the teams were all sponsored by civic organizations, either Austin's Total Ruatan Club and the separate communities, Baton and North Catawba, Coxville, Gamble, Witham. Now, this team was managed by Dusty Crunk. If you would stand, Mr. Crunk. And coached by Ralph Pratt. Go ahead and Ralph. Now, they played 3 games in the district and won all 3 of them. They beat Lenore, Hudson, the Piedmont team, which was down near Denver. All right, and then they went to the state tournament and won 4 games. Didn't lose a game in the state tournament. They didn't lose a game until they got to the Southeastern Regional tournament. And Jeff Jones is probably maybe one of the only ones here that was at every one of those ball games because they did them on the radio. And if you'll notice, in the there were several moms there. I know several Torrance was there. There were several people. If you look at the uniforms, if you notice, they didn't have a uniform that all looked alike. At that time, we didn't find out that they was going to have that all-star team till like a month ahead of time. We didn't have enough time to raise money to send them places to play and get them a uniform that was alike. So they took their regular season uniform and played it. All right. Once they won the state championship, Donnie Goodell, who had a tremendous impact on baseball in Caldwell County, he doesn't ever get enough credit to what he did through the radio. Bought jackets that said North Carolina State Champions, had their name on it. And so right here it is. Anyway, let me recognize these players and we'll be quiet. All the players are here but two. Jeff Martin, stand please. Jeff Mott, Mike Thomas, Eric Nichols. He couldn't pull Grandma now if he had to. Michael Gray, David McCall, who's not in attendance, Travis Brazel, Brett Story, Ray Boyette, Jeff Norwood, Tim Bentley, Jimmy Clark, who's not here because his father's in the hospital in Nashville, Andy Johnson, and the lone player that is deceased is Ricky Bean, and his mother's here. This was a good group of young men, and fortunate enough, I had the opportunity. Several of them played for me when they got to high school. We played against the rest of them. So, anyway, thank you very much, and here's their state championship. And somehow or another, Jeff Norwood's had it there all the years.
Thanks, man. Again, congratulations to all the players and coaches and managers and the family of the 81 Junior League All-Stars. If I first could ask Steve Chris and Robert Neal Adams to come forward, please.
I'm here and honored to introduce Neal Adams as a new member of the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. Neal is being inducted as a three-sport athlete at High Brighton High School. He was defensive most valuable player in football his senior year in all conference and all county his junior and senior years. He was a starter on the basketball team. One of the coaches awarded his senior year of basketball. I know him best because I was his old coach in baseball. And Neal was my assistant coach. Well, not really, but as a catcher and with his leadership skills, he was very helpful in leading the team. He was our catcher as well as our leader, valuable player on our team. He was a hustler and set an example to the other players to hustle, be on the ball, be alert, and to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. He won the Hustle Award his senior year, most deservedly. That was a word that could describe him in many ways. He played hard, gave everything he had, and set an example to the other players on the team to follow and do the same thing. He was all county and all conference in baseball his junior and senior years. Our senior of his senior year, our team was conference champions. Looking at the old scorebook, I think it was the tournament champion we were. Then we went to the state playoffs and wound up to the third round. We won 2 state playoff games, lost in the third round to North Davidson, which was a very good team. Neil was a member of the American Legion baseball team in '85. That team was runner-up in the state. The county team, of course, made up of players from High Brighton, West Caldwell, South Caldwell, and runner-up in the state championship. Neil was outstanding in academics. He was a member of the National Honor Society, Army National Scholar. After high school, he attended Monty Anderson Junior College on a baseball scholarship, and then Milligan College in Tennessee. He's helped coach his adult years in his community, Little League, and is, I guess, ready to coach his grandson back here now, if he hasn't been taking a nap yet. I've got a little mask at home I told him he could wear for if he wants him to be a catcher. Now, maybe a shortstop. We'll see. He was a great athlete, a great student, a person of high character. He well deserves this honor tonight. And Neil, I'm proud to have been your baseball coach. I'm honored to help with your induction to this Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. And I think I left out one important thing. Neil's character is exemplified by the fact that he is a member and a deacon at Crestview Baptist Church. And maybe that's more to be proud of than the home runs he did. I don't know. I'm not used to doing this, especially to another guy. But anyway. Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. Walkerville Adams, inducted 2024.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior and give him the praise and glory for it all. I had to write some notes down so I wouldn't forget it. I'd like to thank the Caldwell County Rotary Club and the Hall of Fame Committee for this honor. It's a great honor, and I thank you all for this. I'd like to mention my mom and dad. They both have passed away, but they made sure that I was at every practice on time, and they never missed a game through 3 sports. I'm going to remember them. I also want to remember, and I better not forget this, she told me I wouldn't be able to come home, is my wife, Kim, and we've been married for almost 36 years. I'd like to thank her and my son Zach, my daughter-in-law, and my 2 grandsons. And I'd also like to thank my family that's here, and all of my friends from church and the ones I grew up with. I thank you for being here. I can't accept this honor without thanking all the teammates that I had over the years. So many years I had some great players that played with me, and there's some of them here tonight that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I really enjoyed this, and I had some great friends and great players. I want to thank them for being my teammates. As I thought about what I would talk about tonight, I decided what I'd do is talk about some people that influenced my life. Nothing that I did, just the people that influenced my life. So I'm going to start with the coaches that I had during my career. First is Joe Gibbons. He's my Little League coach and first organized coach that I had. After about 3 or 4 practices, I began to wonder what I got into. Him throwing his hat and kicking it. I wasn't used to that, but I really do appreciate him. I know he's sitting right here, and he taught me the love of the game and taught me sportsmanship, and I really do appreciate everything he done for me. Next would be my senior league coach, who's passed away, John Davis. John was is that your dad? He was a good man. He chose me in senior league, and I played for him for 3 years. Very good coach, and Coach Spears. Kent's dad was the coach, and I want to mention him. The next move on to high school was, I want to mention my football coach, Coach Tim Porch. If I ain't mistaken, my senior year was his first year of coaching, or second year of coaching out of college, and he was meant a lot to me. Our junior year, we went to the 3rd round of the state playoffs. My senior year, we lost every game, and it was hard, but Coach Porch always pushed me and pushed the team to make sure that we enjoyed that last year, and I appreciate Coach Porch. Next, I'd like to move on to Coach Ray Sudworth and Coach Larry Birch. They were my basketball coach in JV and in varsity. Coach Sudworth also ran cross country a couple of years to stay in shape, and wasn't too good at that, but I appreciate both of them. Last in my high school was Coach Chris, and I want to say something about him. He's not the typical coach that most coaches are. If you read the paper when we were playing, sports writers would say we was the most unorganized team that ever took the field. Our practices were different, but Coach Chris got us together and told us, I'll never forget it. He did not care, who your parents were. If he's rich, poor, he said he's putting the best 9 ball players on the field, no matter what class you are, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And I looked up to him for that, and that's why our team was successful. And I don't think the last coach I'd like to mention is Marvin Speeds. He was my Legion ball coach, and there's several guys here that played under him, and he was very hard-nosed, and he liked to win. He didn't like to lose. He didn't talk about losing, and he was a very good coach. He'd get the best out of you every game, and I like to remember him. I'm going to try to make it short. I'm not good at speaking. The last person I like to remember is Johnny Hatton. He was inducted in 2019. And I want to tell you the story about that. That's the story I'm going to tell tonight. When I was small, I stayed at Walker Stadium watching Lenore Furniture Kings play. Matter of fact, I kept score on the scoreboard. And so I watched a lot of great players in Caldwell County. I mean, a lot of good ball players. And my hometown hero was Johnny, and we watched him play the whole time I grew up, and when he coached. And when I was in high school, I started working in the summer on construction, and I started working with Johnny, my hometown hero, and got to know him. And this story's leading somewhere. As we were working together, he told me, he said, how about coming by and seeing my daughter? And I'd like you to take her out. And I said, I think she's going with somebody. And he said, I don't like him. So, how about just coming up and seeing us? So I did. And make a long story short, it's my wife right now. So that's how much he mentioned it. As we got older, I looked up to him, but he was always at all my games, just like my dad. And he would introduce me to golf, which I wish he hadn't, but he did. We played golf together, we went to church together, and he was just like a dad to me. And I wanted to mention that. Last thing I'd like to mention is the time that I got to coach. Coached several years for Happy Valley Little League, and in 2003 we won the district championship, and I think that's the first time they ever done that. I had a good bunch of kids, and I really enjoyed coaching, and I found myself taking a little bit of each coach that I mentioned tonight and implementing that into the way I coached. Yes, I did throw my hat and kick around like Coach Gibbons, but I also used the rest of his instructions that they gave me, and I've come to find out that all the ball games that I played over the years could not compare to the enjoyment I had coaching. So just want you to know to the coaches out there that it's very important that we make an impact on these kids. All these guys did for me, and again, I'd like to thank them all. In closing, I'd like to read 2 verses of Scripture, my favorite Scripture. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him. That's Colossians 3:17. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's Philippians 4:13. Thank you.
If I could have the family and friends of Neil Adams to please stand. Steve touched on it briefly, but this will be, the plaques are ordered. It takes several months to get those. That will go into the Hall of Honor out here, but I want to read what Neil's plaque will say. Robert Neil Adams, baseball, basketball, football. Born on April 7, 1967 to parents Robert and Sue Adams. Little League Baseball MVP in 1979 as a catcher with Exchange. Senior League All-Star multiple years, District 7 champions. Graduated from Brighton High School in 1985, named most athletic. Lettered in baseball, basketball, football. Defensive MVP in football in 1984, All-County and All-Conferences junior and senior. 2-time Player of the Week and Conference Champions in 1983. 4-year starter in basketball, Coaches Award as a senior. 4-year starter in baseball, JV Conference Champions, NWC champions in 1985, advancing to 3rd round in the state playoffs, All-County and All-Conference as a junior and senior. Hustle Award in senior season with a .358 batting average, 4 home runs, and 25 RBIs. Named Lenore Rotary Club's Male Athlete of the Year in 1985. Jamie Tuttle Merit Award, National Honor Society, and Army National Scholar. 3-year starter for American Legion Post-29 baseball team, state runner-up in 1985. Received the first annual Charlie Kozart Scholarship Award in 1985 for Post-29. Attended Montreat Anderson Junior College on baseball scholarship, playing 2 years and 1 year at Milledon College. Coached baseball and basketball for many years at Happy Valley Optimists, including the 9 and 10-year-old baseball team to their first district championship in 2003. Supervisor at Bemis Manufacturing for 20 years. Member and deacon at Crestview Baptist Church. Married to his wife Kim Adams, son Zach, and 2 grandchildren. Again, Robert Neal Adams, inductee into 2024 class of the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. Now, if I could ask Skip Downs and Joel Carroll to come forward.
Before he starts, there'll be no academic mention. Oh, me, Coach. Before I forget, congratulations. No one has gotten this right yet, but if you can pick Coach Carroll's picture out of this 1955 picture, you don't count. Can you pick it out? You probably nobody's doing this. No. And you got the big smile and the hat cocked to one side. 1950. It is an honor to introduce Coach Joel Carroll into the Caldwell Sports Hall of Fame. Coach Carroll played baseball in the first Caldwell County Little League Championship team, the Hudson Hornets, 1955. In 1963, he played on the first Association Championship high school basketball team from Western North Carolina, the Hudson High School Hornets. A few years later, I saw Coach Carroll play basketball at Lenore. He had transferred from Gardner-Webb. He drove to the baseline, hit a 15-foot jump shot. He was the most improved athlete that I have ever seen from high school to college in all my years of coaching. He was a good high school basketball player, but Coach Carroll took it to the next level in college. Something else, Coach. I worked with Coach Carroll at Hudson High School, and he was an outstanding coach and one of the most loved teachers and coaches at our high school. Coach played baseball, basketball, and football for Hudson High School, where he made all county and all conference in 3 sports. He was a member of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Basketball Championship team in 1963, and played in the North Carolina Lions Bowl football game in 1963. He coached the Hudson Little League team to the county championship in 1966. After high school, Coach Carroll, and I'm not going to call him Joel or anything else, he was coach. That's the way it's going to be. After high school, Coach Carroll attended Gardner-Webb College playing basketball, baseball, and football. They won the WCICC basketball championship in 1965 and the conference championship in 1966. As Carroll led the nation in rebounding in 1966 and was an all-region 10 selection. He then went to Lenore College, where he lettered in baseball and basketball. Carroll served as a teacher, coach, assistant principal, and principal in the Caldwell County school system from 1968 to 1999. He also served as the first Hudson Recreation Director from 1984 to 1986. He was recognized as the Principal of the Year in 1985 and the Hudson Manager of the Year in 2008. Now let Chris talk about all of his community involvements and things. Coach, we're so darn proud of you. It's great to introduce you to the Caldwell County Sports Hall.
Certainly appreciate all the things Coach Downs had to say. He and I go back a long way. We played ball together. I even played for him on a couple of occasions, and he's a pretty tough coach. One thing that you learn if you're around Coach Downs, and I know this is not about him, but it can't be about me because Graham Gill's here tonight, is that man taught me something, and something I've upheld all these years: never a curse word come out of the mouth of Skip Downs. The closest he came to it was, gosh almighty. I was hoping that I could go first, because usually the first person says all the things we all want to say, or who we all think. We thank the Caldwell Rotary Club, we thank the selection committee for taking the bribes that you got. We appreciate all that, we appreciate the selection committee, but you're made with the people that you grow up with and that you're around. He mentioned all his coaches, and I can't help but think we have a lot of those coaches that have the same values and the same work ethics that we have. I learned from a lot of coaches. I was Fred Langford's assistant for several years. To learn a lot about it. I didn't learn about cussing from him, but I learned how not to. But as we move on, we certainly appreciate it. My brother is here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate him, because I was the youngest of 7 children, and all my older siblings went to work. My father passed away at an early age when I was young, and they all went to work, and that gave me the opportunity to do the thing I love the most, is play ball. And I have to owe a lot of my abilities to them, because they worked in chicken coops and grocery stores to help bring the money home, and I got to go outside and play ball. So I'm always indebted to my older brothers and sisters. I got a family here, my son Ryan and his wife Emily, and Zoe. I want you to stand just for a second. That young lady there is a 2022 National Wakeboarding Champion. She has also been selected to Team USA, and 2 weeks ago, she went to Orlando, Florida, and was first in her division at the Pan Am Games. Okay, sit down, it's not about you. Also here tonight are several of my golfing buddies. It was easy for them to buy a ticket from all the money they won from me, but I appreciate their attendance and coming in. I look out here and I see a lot of former guys that I used to coach. And it's the players who make the coach. It's not the coach that makes the players. It's their work ethics, it's their attitudes, and what they put into the game for the love of it. And Van, I won't go as far as say what you did about travel ball, but I agree with you. I wish more parents would let their children play. And for a long time we advocated, send the boys and the girls out there on the ball field, give them a ball in the bat or give them a basketball, send the adults home and let the kids work out their own problems. They make up their own rules and they work out a whole lot different. But I appreciate this award. I am deeply honored with it. And walking down that hall, we have got a county that is blessed with athletes and individuals who lead people to the right way. And Chris, Coach Downs, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I can't go long because Karen said all I'd see her was walking out the door if I went too long.
I could have the family and friends of Joel Carroll to please stand. Skip said, Coach, I'll call him Mr. Carroll because he was my assistant principal and principal in elementary school, and he still strikes an opposing figure, but I've always been short. But just imagine a kindergartner, first grader, little guy, and Joel Carroll walking down the hall. So, and I never saw it, but the rumor was he had that electric paddle in the office, ready to go for those of us that might misbehave. Fear got him. Shot fear got him. So, but, and Skip did touch on many of the things of Joel's that's on the, they'll be on his plaque, but I'll just add the things that he did not cover. Joel William Carroll, baseball, basketball, football, coach, educator. Born on August 8, 1946 to parents George and Stella Carroll. Of course, Hudson Little League, 4 times county champions, best hitter. Graduated from Hudson High in 64, lettered in baseball, basketball, football, all county, all conference, all 3 sports. Basketball champions in 63, Lions Bowl football in 63, coached Hudson Little League to the county championship in 66, attended Gardner-Webb College play in baseball, basketball, football, which that's even in high school, but in college playing multiple sports, that's commendable. They were the basketball champions in 65 in their league, conference champions in 66, led the nation in rebounding in 66. Region 10 in baseball and basketball, 1965-66. Led in baseball and basketball at North Ryan College. Served as a teacher, coach, assistant principal, and principal in Caldwell County Schools from 68 to 99. First Hudson Recreation Director, 84 to 86. Principal of the Year in 1985. President of Caldwell United Way, 1985 to 86. Hudson Man of the Year, 2008. Served on Burgess Foundation Board, 2017 to present. Caldwell Community College Board of Trustees, 2020 to present. Married to wife Kathy Carroll, and son Ryan, and granddaughter Zola. Joel William Carroll inducted into the 2024 class of the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. I could have Jeff Link and Myron who are coming up.
Where did Zoe go? She already leave? Oh, I was going to see if she can get a video of Joel on the wakeboard. We'd love to see that. We'd love to see that. So, yesterday, I heard this on the way in. Myron's a big New York Yankees fan. So yesterday at church, the pastor asked. He said, "Anybody that needs to come down and lay their problems on the altar, come on down." Myron went down and took his Yankees hat. That's it. And Myron, I'm not going to read, I'll let Chris read the accolades, but it did say that Myron had over 100 coaching victories. Now, Myron was a longtime assistant coach under Gary Handy and Brandon Banks. And I saw them get ejected at least 50 times, and you finished out the game. So that should say 150 wins at least on that plaque. Yeah, so we'll get those. But it's my honor to introduce Myron. Myron was I grew up across the river in Burke County, and my adult life got to come to Caldwell County and started at South Caldwell as a teacher coach. And Myron was one of the first folks I met. At the time, he was doing PA for South Caldwell football, and I helped out on Friday nights and got to know Myron and Ginger. And Myron, you outpunted your coverage. I know you're a baseball guy, but you outpunted your coverage. And the thing that I'll say about Myron, and again, just like Joel said, this county is blessed with some great athletes and great coaches and leader men and women, and a lot of those legends are here in this room tonight. But I think the thing about Myron, when I think about Myron, I think about Ginger, and I think about Josh and Mindy and his family. And you know, a lot of folks get into coaching and they're going to coach their kids, and then once their kids grow up, they're going to step back and let somebody else do it. But Myron loved the kids of this community so much that his family sacrificed him to be able to go on and coach many sons, and he treated them like his sons and family, and a lot of those folks are here tonight. So thank you guys for giving us Myron, because you could have been selfish and said, no, we want him home, but you let him coach all those young men, so we do appreciate that so much. I always enjoyed, I worked in radio and got to interview Myron when we still covered the baseball games on WJRI, so would meet with Myron before the games. I always enjoyed our talks, and was easy to talk to. He has a face for radio. He does have a background in radio, so he was always courteous of his time to us, and knew how important that was, so I do appreciate that. But again, it's a great honor to be able to introduce Myron. We tried to get him in last year, Dwayne Knight and we missed the deadline. So we made sure this year we were going to get that nomination in. I'm glad that the committee saw fit to get Myron in, because he reminds me a lot of Coach Downs. He was an assistant coach for a long time, but he was more than an assistant coach. He was a head coach and a molder of young men, and I'm glad to see another Hudson person in there as well too. So congratulations. So Myron Day, 2024 inductee to the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. Josh is going to come up and speak on Myron's behalf.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Hopefully I didn't screw this up. He recorded about everything he wanted me to say. I'm sure I screwed up. He'll let me know later.
I'll smack his Jack.
I know. That's all right. Won't be first.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. It's an honor to be able to celebrate Dad, and congratulations to everybody that's inducted and has been inducted in the past. Jeff, Dwayne, thank you guys especially for being the catalyst there to get this done. So Dad was raised between Hudson Elementary School and Hudson High School, which is now the Hub, and Hudson Middle School. And he'd ride his bike every day to school. Well, he said he went to school is what he tells me. We know, Coach Downs knows he didn't show up by half time probably. But as a 12-year-old, or after school, Dad would ride his bike down to Hudson Options Park, and as a 12-year-old, he made the All-Star team for the Hudson Whites. They won the district championship that year, and Dad told me, as a player, that was probably his greatest achievement of his young life. That All-Star team would go on, they lost in the district tournament, and that'd be the last time Dad actually played baseball as a young man. And so he transitioned into running, which I'm assuming a lot of time was running from Coach Downs and Coach Carroll. That's probably where he learned to get fast enough to transition into running track and field. So alongside my Uncle Keith, they started competing in AAU track at the North Recreation Center, and that's where they kind of learned their love for track and field. So once he got a little bit older, he joined the Hudson High School track team, and he ended up lettering all 4 years there, earning all conference honors his senior year. And he, at the time, held the long jump record at Hudson High School and was named the team MVP when the team won conference championship his senior year of high school. So after that, Dad started going to school, get his degree, and started playing a little softball for my grandfather's softball team, which was Day Motors. After he played alongside my Uncle Keith, Charlie Raby, Kenny Bolick, Bud Watts, and Jack Jenkins, just a few guys to name that he played with, and they traveled throughout the entire Southeast playing softball, and I think they had a lot of fun doing that, from what I understand. But I developed my passion for baseball, just following him around, and Mom was taking us to every game, so I started to fall in love with the sport. And as I grew older, Dad shifted away from playing softball, and he decided that he was going to start coaching both me and my sister Mindy. he began coaching us, coached me at T-ball, and he wouldn't let us play in Hudson at first because they wanted us to get off the tee, and Dad said, no, that ain't happening. So we went down to Granite Falls, and we played coach pitch down there for a year, and then the next year, Dad said, all right, let's go talk to these folks up in Hudson again and see if they'll let us coach pitch, and they did. So we started playing there in Hudson at the Hudson Optimus Park, and it wasn't his first time actually coaching young kids. When he was 15 years old, he was riding his bike around the ballpark down there at Hudson Optimus, and they needed a coach apparently, and he looked like the best thing to do it, I guess. So they asked him if he would coach a team of 15 or of minor league age kids, and he did that. So he volunteered and he coached while he was 15 years old, which I think is pretty amazing to do that as a young person. But after our first year at Granite Falls, we moved to Hudson. Dad started coaching us in Hudson Little League, where we stayed for the rest of my childhood. When we got there were 4 T-ball teams. That was it. There was four T-ball teams, 4 Little League teams. But by the time we moved up 3 years later, Mom and Dad and several others had grown that number to 12 teams total in T-ball. They added a minor league division and added a bunch of teams there, which was a really great growth for the Hudson Optimus Park. So that transition, we went minor league baseball, and then we started playing Little League baseball. And we were coming home. I don't even know where we were coming home from, but we stopped at Carl Story's Hudson Superette, and Jim Cook was hanging out in the parking lot getting gas. And so Dad went over and talked to him, and he said, Jimmy, start coaching Little League next year. Won't you come coach with me? And he said, no, not interested in that. Jim just retired, and he didn't have any interest. Well, by the time we got from Hudson Superette to our house at Mount Herman Road, the phone was ringing, and it was Coach Cook. And he said, you know what? He said, I thought about it, and he said, I'm ready. Let's do it. So together, Dad and Coach Cook, they coached myself and Chris, who's my best friend and now engaged to my wife's sister. It's a long story. But so we played together. Chris and I played together from the time we were 12 years old until 9 years old until we were 18. But Coach Cook and Dad coached together for about 6 years there. And the impact that they had on our lives was really immeasurable, to be honest with you, because that's where I started with a bunch of the guys that I still have. They're my best friends today, and we learned so much from Dad and Jim, because it wasn't just about baseball. Jim was very focused on teaching the fundamentals and the way to do things right on the baseball field. And Dad always had this way of getting down on your level and making you understand, like, there's other things. Let's focus while we're here, but let's have fun doing it. And that was always Dad's kind of special sauce that he could put on things when he was coaching young kids. So we went on, won multiple championships at different levels. And for any of you guys in the room that were lucky enough to play for Coach Cook, there was an intensity there that it was kind of shocking at 9 years old to see a grown man slide across concrete in his shorts. And Dad got a kick out of that. So Dad would try to get Jim to do it every time he could. That was always fun. Dad was able to always manage and keep things at a nice balance for us, so that we were having fun the entire time. As we got a little bit older, we went to down to Hudson Middle School, and a new coach had arrived in town, and by the name of Terry Henthorne. And Coach Henthorne came to Dad, and Dad was the president of the Boosters Club at the time, and asked him if he would help him coach. And Dad said, no, I don't want to do that. He said, Josh is going to be trying out for you. I don't have any influence on the team. So Dad originally declined. And so after Coach Henthorne finally, we practiced, and I remember going home, and Dad said, you better work your butt off. He's like, because I'm not coaching. You're going to make this team on your own court. I said, all right. Well, Coach Henthorne ultimately put me on the team, and Dad and Coach Henthorne got together, and Dad said, yeah, I'll help you coach. So during that time at Hudson Middle School, it's when I really started to understand what's Dad's philosophy. It was a little bit different. Dad had this thing, and I know you guys need travel ball, which, sorry, I know. Sorry. We do rec ball, but we still play travel ball too. So the number one thing Dad said was always, you look good, you'll play good. And it was all about your appearance, how you carried yourself, You weren't gonna come out there with your shirt untucked, dirty, all these different things, and you weren't gonna come off the bus being Yahoos either. You got together on the bus, you walked off as a team, and it really I started understanding like what that meant. So Dad made sure that in between him and Coach Hinthorn, that we all had matching backpacks, we all had matching cleats, we all had matching jackets, we all had, everything was matched. We looked very military-esque how we came off the bus. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world was, 12, 13-year-olds that we all looked like this, because that didn't happen then. There wasn't all the things that travel ball teams do now. And I didn't really realize how much of an impact that had on the teams we were playing until later in high school. I was playing with a kid that, one of my teammates and a good friend of mine. He went to, or played out at High Brighton Middle School. Can't remember the middle school. William Carroll. And he said, you know what? He goes, I hated playing y'all in middle school. He said, you'd get off the bus and you were up by 5 runs already. And he said, man, we couldn't beat you just because we were defeated by the time you got off the bus. And that was big influence of Dad there, was always like how you carried yourself and how you made yourself appear to the other team. You win the game before you ever stepped on the field. And that carried on forever with us. We were good. A lot of teams I played on, about every team Dad coached, we were very successful. And it had a lot to do with that mentality and just being better than everybody else before you even step on the field. So during the time that Dad was coaching with Coach Hinthorn, they coached us to back-to-back conference championships, and that really set us, that group of young men that I played with, on our path to play at South Caldwell High School. Now, while Dad was coaching me in multiple sports throughout the year, he and my mom were also raising this amazing young woman, my sister Mindy. And she was coming up through the Hudson Recreation Center. There was no female sports. I saw Holly Andrews is a good friend of mine who's been inducted previous years. Holly was the same way. She just played with all boys, and Mindy was that next generation. That there were no female sports. So Mindy played with all of my buddies who she got to play against and be raised against. And she was definitely the best athlete in our house. She dominated all of us at basketball. She was left-handed, and Dad was pretty good at using that to his advantage. Every single play was to the left, and Mindy's driving the left, shooting to the left. Nobody could block her. So he definitely would get a kick out of that, and winning games in the ways that he did. He was designing plays where Mindy was just going to dominate everybody. I have vivid remembrances of being out in our driveway, and there'd be 3 or 4 of us over there playing basketball, and he'd go inside, and he'd get Mindy to come out, and she's this tall compared to us being 2 years older than her, and he'd say, boys, why don't you guys play against Josh's little sister here? And they'd be like, oh, okay, that's fine. And about 15 minutes later, he'd be like, we don't have to let her win. Like, you can just try to actually compete against her. And he knew very well that we were trying, and it was just that she was embarrassing us in our driveway, playing 1-on-1, and then it went to 2-on-1, and then sometimes 3-on-1, and she was still dominating us out there in the driveway. Dad just would tackle, and he'd get a kick out of that. So as I moved on to South Carolina High School, she remained at Hudson Middle School, and she dominated girls basketball there for a couple of years before she came to South Caldwell as well. But when I arrived at South Caldwell High School, Dad wasn't obviously coaching me anymore in the school, but he instead kind of set his eyes on improving the baseball facility and other facilities at South Caldwell High School. So he, along with Steve Wilkins, they kind of co-presidents of the Boosters Club, and they said, we're gonna put lights on the baseball field. And okay, that sounds great. We'd love to play Friday nights. That'd be awesome. So they started selling engraved bricks, T-shirts, pizzas, whatever they could raise money with, they'd sell it. And if you know those two, they weren't going to take no for an answer. So if you was buying 1 brick, you was buying 2. And before I knew it, I think by the end of my freshman year, there were Musco lights going up down around South Caldwell High School. And I still remember sitting down there in the bleachers and watching Steve and Dad help the crane operator put the poles up. And I was like, well, that pole right there is going to launch when they light this thing off, and these 2 are down there putting the poles on. But they were determined to get that field lit. They just one pole failed, that's right. And then watching them walk around down there in the field and set those lights, it was really, really amazing thing to see. And it made all the difference in the world for a bunch of young kids that now got to come down there and play on Friday nights. So Dad never stopped coaching me though while we were in high school. He never stopped coaching my sister. We played different sports, and during those high school years, we kept playing in the rec programs. And then that's when Dad decided, hey, we need to form, you guys are playing up through the summer, but there's nothing to do in the fall for baseball. So he, along with a couple of other guys in the area, formed the I-40 baseball team. He was the catalyst behind that. He put together a pretty good team. He went and got some of the guys that were older than me, and the guys I was playing with, and he was focused on preparing us to play for American Legion Post-29. So that's where I got my first really foray into bigger time baseball. I was playing JV baseball at South at the time, but I started playing with some of the older guys, and I was like, this is a real deal here, so this is fun. So Dad hired me one time, we were practicing, and Tom Holden, who was I think 2 years older than me, he hit a line drive so hard at me, I just got out of the way. I was like, I can't catch that ball. Dad came out there and he said, don't ever run from the baseball. And I said, here, you catch it. And he said, you go sit in the truck. And so that was the last time I ran from the baseball, I believe. After that, I didn't want to sit in the truck. Henry and I had that conversation too. So we don't run from the baseball, we go get it. But then, so prior to this is obviously the early years of South Caldwell High School. And prior to my senior year, under the advisement of Coach Lanford, Dad and Chris Penley put together a Tar Heel baseball team. We took the majority of the guys from the South Caldwell varsity team, and we played throughout the summer and ultimately finished second in the state. And we repaid Hickory that next year, so don't worry about that. But as I graduated high school, I finally earned a spot on the Post-29 American Legion baseball team. It was coached by Gary Hamby, and he called Dad and said, you coached most of these kids for a number of years, like 10 plus years at the time, and said, love for you to come on and help us. And Dad came on to be an assistant coach, and they kind of kicked off his career as a Post-29 coach for the next 23 years, I guess. That was the 2000 team, and that was the best team I ever played on. It was a magical summer. Dad was so focused on us just preparing every day and play baseball. He was like, this is the last time you guys are all going to play together, so just focus on that. Let everything else go to the wayside, girls, jobs, whatever. He's like, just let it go. Let's play baseball. And we went 35-8 that year, and we lost one regular season game the entire season. Won the Western region. I still remember Coach Hamby busted that plaque over there off the side of the fence, told him this wasn't good enough. So we learned real quick we were primed to go after a state title. And Dad had always had the ability to, like I said, get down on our level. So when you got 17 to 18-year-olds, it was pretty important to be able to get down on their level and explain to them, what the importance of this moment was, and keep it fun. And he was always able to do that. He had a unique way of demanding respect, because he'd come on as your friend, but if you got a little bit off the path there, he'd jerk you back real quick, make sure you're being respectful of yourself and the game and coaches and the people that are coming to watch you play. The one thing that always impressed me about Dad was not only was he coaching, but he was also trying to do numerous other things. And one of the things that was important was getting that state tournament down to MS Dill Stadium. And so he worked really closely with GC Trivet and the right field bleacher gang. Those guys are super supportive in bringing that tournament down to MS Dill. So ultimately we were playing our state tournament in Granite Falls. Every day, Dad would go first thing in the morning down there and meet GC and the right field bleacher gang folks, and they would work the fields. They'd get everything prepared for the day, and he'd be there all day long, all the way into the night. And Jeff mentioned it, the sacrifices that Dad made, and the things that Mindy gave up, Mom gave up, to just be there for us to play baseball. It was pretty impressive, and I didn't understand it at the time. I do now as a father, like how much time it does take, and the time that we spent together was amazing times. So always appreciate that. We had some amazing battles that season. I think that's where Dad learned to hate charitable post 100. And there's a lot of stories that I can't tell because my son's sitting there, but I can tell you some off to the side sometimes if you'd like to hear about Dad and Bobby Dale. But the night we played them in the state tournament was probably the most amazing baseball game I've ever been in. The place was completely packed, and Dad was Dad was fired up. He was ready for us to go after them. So we did. We beat them, and then we ultimately defeated Rowan County the next night to win the 2000 state championship. And I can't describe what it was like to throw my glove in the air and see Dad sprinting out the dugout and me at shortstop. That was pretty surreal moment. And I don't know who had more fun. I think it was probably you than it was me. But then we went that night and on every single Lenore News topic that there was in Caldwell County and stacked it in our living room. And Mom was so mad at us. She's like, nobody else can go get paper. We're like, okay, we got our own. But it was a fun time, and Dad was just along with Coach Handy and the other guys that were coaching, Sean Denny. They were something else to be around all summer. It was a really amazing time. Really a culmination of 15 years worth of work to get to that moment was something super special. So Dad would continue to coach alongside Coach Handy for several years at Post 29. They finished as runner-up in Shelby in 2004, and then he would go on to assistant coach with Brandon Banks, and they finished third in the state as well before Dad took over as manager at Post 29. As Jeff mentioned, he'd go on to coach Post 29 for 11 years and amass over 100 wins. And I say without a doubt in my mind that Myron Day is the best in-game baseball coach I've ever played for. And I played for some very, very good coaches. Coach Lanford was second to none. We all know that. But Dad was right there with him on being able to coach in an in-game situation when it came to coaching baseball. Ultimately, Dad had to step away from coaching due to health reasons. And I'm confident that if it wasn't for those health reasons, he'd still be at the helm of Post 29 and helping shape even more young men because he just loved coaching. Loved coaching young men, loved being around the sport. He is now coming down to Huntersville and sits behind me and yells at me about what I'm doing wrong when I'm coaching my kids. So he has lost the passion, and if his health would allow it, he'd still be right there in the dugout, that's for sure. Dad did ask me to mention a few folks, John Wilson, Steve Wilkins, Greg Martin, who was a Little League coach in our Little League, Terry Henthorn, Gary Hamby, Brandon Banks, and David Parsons. And thank you guys for all you did throughout the years of coaching with Dad. And then everyone in the room that ever helped coach with Dad, thank you, because he wouldn't have been able to do this. I know he feels that he wouldn't have been able to do this without all the support and love and being there to make sure everybody was ready to go and prepared every night. Mindy, Dad loves his baby girl. He's amazed at the wonderful mother you are and cannot thank you enough for the support that you give him and Mom every day. And then I think the only person that he loves more than his 4 grandchildren is my mom. And Mom, none of these things are possible without you. There's no way that Dad could have been able to spend all this time and doing all the things he did to support Mindy and I without you being there at home and at the games every single night for 40 plus years. So thank you for doing that. I know your story together is a rare one these days. They started dating in high school and they've been married for almost 45 or nearly 45 years. So it's pretty amazing to see that relationship last the way that it has. Mom is a tremendous person to put up with him for that many years. I can tell you that right now. But you are the one person that made everything possible. So thank you for that. And then, sorry. It's an honor that he doesn't accept it all. It's one that you guys are accepting together for sure. I think Dad would say he's humbled to receive this induction and greatly appreciates the opportunity to be memorialized with the amazing people that have been enshrined tonight in previous classes. So thank you all for being here and thank you for this honor.
I've had the honor of knowing Myron Ginger, I think, for over 40 years, so a long time. When I was little, and I remember those kids were even small. Again, Myron, first, If the family and friends of Myron Day, please stand. And just quickly, the Myron's plaque, when it is installed, Myron Randall Day, track and field, youth sports coach, American Legion baseball coach. Born on October 10th, 1958 to parents Lloyd and Sylvia Bullock Day. All-Star Hudson Little League, graduated from Hudson High School in 1976. 4-year letterman in track and field, holds Hudson High School record in broad jump. All-conference and most valuable player in 1976, conference champions. Graduated with honors from Wilkes Community College with a degree in TV radio communications, worked at WJRI, WKGX, and WHKY. Began coaching the Hudson Youth Sports Leagues at the age of 15, as Josh mentioned. Instrumental in developing the I-40 Fall Baseball League. Significant role in the lighting of the South Caldwell baseball field. Spent over 2 decades of coaching baseball and basketball. Assistant coach of the 1999 Tar Heel League state runner-ups in baseball. Received Isaac Kendall Award for 23 years service as assistant and head coach of the American League Post-29 baseball team. American Legion state champions in 2000, runner-up in 2004, and third place in 2015. Over 100 wins as head coach. Active for years in Hudson Middle and South Caldwell Booster Clubs, serving as president of each. Owner-operator of Days Hardwoods for over 40 years. Married to wife Ginger Day, children Josh Day and Wendy Ross, 4 grandchildren. Myron Day, 2024 inductee into the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. If I could ask Karen Trivet and the representative for James Rich, his daughter Karen, to come forward, please.
Good evening again. Congratulations again to the 1981 Baseball Junior League champions. Congratulations to Neil, Adams, to Joel, and to Myron. All great additions to our Hall of Fame. I really do want to get an autograph from a Carroll tonight, but it's not you, Joel. Sorry. It's your granddaughter. She's amazing. I've seen her on video. She's absolutely amazing. But I'm here tonight to introduce the family of Jim Rich. I didn't know Jim Rich, but there's only a couple women on the Hall of Fame committee, and it seems like we get stuck doing most everything. So I have all the nomination forms. So I've read Mr. Rich's nomination form for years. He's very worthy to be in our hall. I'm not going to read all his accomplishments because that's what Chris will do. But one thing that impressed me is one year he beat Patterson all by himself. He scored 32 points in a 52-30 beatdown of Patterson School. I enjoyed that. He's a Collegeville man. I'm a West Caldwell girl, and I enjoyed that. Very proud to present this tonight to Jim Rich's daughter. It says Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame, James Jr. Rich, inducted 2024.
Wow. I'm honored and proud to be here with you tonight. I'm Jim Rich's daughter, Shannon. I know he is with us tonight, and he is grinning from ear to ear, and those big blue eyes are just as big as they can be, with probably a couple of tears of joy. This was a moment that he was looking forward to. We had many conversations about it. He loved sharing his newspaper clippings from his basketball days. I'm pretty sure he probably had every single one of them. I continue to be impressed with his talents. I would like to thank my family for being here tonight, and I would like to add that he had 3 brothers, Troy, Coleman, and Charles, who have all passed. He also has two sisters, Hazel Green, who is here tonight, and Ann Hatton, who both reside in Caldwell County. I would like to thank the Caldwell County Rotary and the selection committee. I would also like to thank 4 people that were instrumental in making this happen. If you could please stand when I call your name, I'd love to recognize you. Gerald Wilson. Judy Wilson. Sue Gurley. And Jim Wilcox. Thank you all so much. And I understand that Jim is Peanut. I can't quite figure out why his name is Peanut, but I will figure it out eventually. And I would like to ask Jim to come up and say a few words about my dad, as they were competitors in basketball for years. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk about Jim. We played about 3 years against each other. And how this came about accidentally, I guess, 2 years ago at a class reunion, I ran into Gerald and his wife. And they were parked, and I parked right in front of them, and I got out. First thing I said, how's Jim doing? Because they were inseparable, Gerald and Jim. I said, how's Jim doing? I think he told me that he passed away. And I said, my next question was, is he in the Hall of Fame? I couldn't remember if he'd been in or not. I said, is he in the Hall of Fame in Caldwell County? He said, I don't think, no, he's not. I said, has he ever been nominated? And I didn't understand that either. So I said, get all those clippings together, which I know will be a lot. I'd like to sponsor him and nominate him, because he's very worthy, maybe very worthy 10 or 15 years ago, because he's got the credentials to go with it. I played against him for 3 years. He's here behind me. We had some good games, very competitive. He's a good athlete. He played basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it was. And, he was not an egotistical type person. He just played and beat you. He had a lot of natural talent. And just to tell you something tonight that nobody ever knew till tonight. We tried to recruit Jim to come to Lenore. At the same time, we couldn't get him because we found out that Andrew Torrance and Johnny Hatton was getting all the NIL money. So he didn't, I don't know what's going on up there at Colorful, maybe some blue moonshine or something, but, and I found out from Coach Hope that all the money was going to Andrew and Johnny, and he knew what he was talking about because both of them signed a pro baseball contract, so that made sense. But I think Jim is a good reason to think. Sometimes people get, as time goes and you get older, people forget who Jim was and older players. Now I know there's not a person in here that knows 1 or 2 people that probably they think could be in the Hall of Fame. But one thing you've got to be, you'll be nominated. And if you don't get nominated, you don't have a chance. But if you get nominated, you do have a chance, but you're going against 20, 30 people every year. These guys know if you get 20 or 30 that once you get nominated, you stay in there. So when I went in 2001, I started going back to Wilkes County, that's where I live, started talking to them. And I said, what Caldwell County is doing is a great thing for the community and for the county. So it took them a few years to get started, but in 2014, they finally started the Hall of Fame. It's a little bit different. It was more involved in just athletics, a lot of things entered into it. And so that was good. And I'll tell you another story that is amazing that tells you why. If you don't nominate somebody, there's no chance. So I went to school with Jim Richardson. Jim Richardson in high school was probably all conference 3 years, all state, won the state championship, went to Appalachian, started for 4 years, came out, coached 2 or 3 different places, coached in college. He became the president of Piedmont Community College. And if you'll go down Interstate 40, you'll see Jim Richardson Highway. But he was a great player. The rebounding, scoring, everything.
But guess what? He didn't go to Wilkes County Hall of Fame because nobody nominated him. And he came in, I said, Jim, I don't understand something. All the friends you've got at North Wilkes, and your career, I don't understand why you haven't gone into the Hall of Fame. He said, I haven't been nominated. I said, I'm not nominated. And with his credentials, just like Jim's, you don't wait too long when you go into the Hall of Fame if you've got the credentials. So that was another. So I'm just saying to people, if you know somebody that's worthy, start the ball rolling by nominating. And I've always thought the Caldwell Rotary Club did a great job in what you do for the community. This little girl right here, she's a smile. She's going to be a star. We better keep up with her. But thank you for, and Jim was, I'm glad he got his due to his family. Gerald, you'd be proud. Xavier, she might have that necklace. But thank you all, and it's a good evening, and I always like to come back and hear the stories. The people, most of the time I'm sitting talking, and it's like, how did they not get in earlier? Because of credentials. Every time but there's a lot of good players. There was a guy here, I can't remember his name, but about 5 years ago, blew me away. Think about this. He played Division I baseball from Caldwell. Division I baseball and basketball from Clemson. And it took him a long time, probably. He got overlooked. But if you know somebody that you feel like that needs to be in there, get his name, get his credentials together, and put them in.
If I could the family of James Rich to be family and friends, please stand. Be recognized. Thank you for being here. And James Jr. Rich, basketball. Born on January 17th, 1944 to parents James and Mabel Rich. Graduated from Caldwell High School in 1963. 4 years started in basketball, played center, and was an excellent rebounder. Averaged over 20 points per game, including numerous 30-plus points games. Outscored Patterson single-handedly 32-30 in a 52-30 victory. They Caldwell to 4 conference regular season and tournament titles. 3-time Caldwell's MVP, 61, 62, 63. 3-time All-County and All-Conference those same 3 seasons. Played Industrial League softball in 1965 and 65. Led the league in hitting and named All-Star catcher. Played Industrial League basketball for a variety of teams. Won league titles in 66 to 67 with the Blowing Rock Furniture team. Daughter Shannon Burnett and grandson Xavier Burnett, sister Hazel Rich Green and Ann Rich Hatton. Passed away March 7, 2022 at the age of 78. Again, James Jr. Rich, 2024 inductee of the Caldwell County Sports Hall of Fame. It's been a great night and a great inducting class. Like I said, this is the 35th class, and bringing, like Joe Gibbons mentioned earlier, 142 inductees and 10 honor teams. Also, I'd like to thank, she couldn't make it here tonight, but Kelly Bryant that's on our steering committee and the High Brighton graphics department actually helped with the program, printed that, so please take that with you as a memento. We do have some extras out on the table you can take with you as well. We look forward next year for you coming back. It's always normally except for the COVID year, it's always the last Monday night in October of each year. And as Bishop Wilcox said, you got to be nominated or have, and right now I think our list is about 100 individuals, give or take. But we always review all those previous inductees every year. Sometimes people ask, is so nominated? I said, well, nominate them again, because a lot of times we may have limited information of what someone may have. You may have the missing piece there. We do advertise usually a deadline in July to be considered for that year, but we do take nominations year round if anyone is interested in receiving a nomination form, you can contact me later, and I'll be happy to mail or email you one. And again, thank you for everyone that came out. Again, congratulations to Robert Neal Adams, Joel William Carroll, Myron Randall Day, James Junior Rich, and again in the 81 baseball junior league team. Thank you. Have safe travels.